Yes, for the remainder of the month of November, I am going to be looking like this, and down below I would really appreciate if you could donate to my Movember page, where I'm looking to raise £100 to help men with prostate and testicular cancer, and most importantly, mental health and suicide prevention. And I kind of want to talk about my story in all of this, and why for the first year, rather than donating, I'm actually going to be asking for donations as well. And this is the this is actually the first year I'm actually going to be, this is the first year I've actually made a Movember page, and I kind of want to give you my reasonings, my experience of life thus far. This is actually the first time I've ever started a Movember page and asked for donations. And I think this is something I've wanted to do for a while, but I want to talk about me, my mental health, and my experience with wanting to commit suicide. In this old Vivian Westwood wallet, which has served me well for probably over 7 years, apart from a few things that every good millennial should have, such as a library card, way too many coffee shop loyalty cards. For some reason, a few of them are even from the same place. Amongst all the other malarkey, I carry around a folded piece of paper, which is very, very important to me, and a constant reminder at times. Now, to the unsuspected eye, this could be anything, but open it, and it is the number, a direct number to the crisis team of my local health board, which was given to me when I was pretty much escorted down to a suicide watch team. And I've been told to always have that number and save it in my phone, but I never leave it on my wallet. I'd rather have a physical reminder rather than a contact in my phone that I will soon forget, like I do most people's numbers. But how we get there is a really long and complicated story. When I was 11, 12, I can't remember the exact age because I've actually blocked most of it out, my parents filed for divorce, and it was a difficult divorce. My mum and dad have not spoken since that divorce. I'm 26 now, and also I didn't speak to my dad for a good few number of years, and a few instances that we did have where we did speak were difficult. They were always like crude, they were always like brutal. There was always an element in our conversations of callous. There was always something callous being said between us. And only recently have I built up the relationship to be actually quite close with him now. But it never was something that I would ever have thought of, even up until the age of 20, so 6 years ago. Never would have thought I'd have a relationship with my dad in any way, shape or form. Now, a divorce and my waning relationship with my dad, and at the beginning a skeptical relationship that I had with my mum and stepfather, everything really went downhill when I quickly got into a relationship when I started university, which was abusive from day one. It's really crazy that if you like someone, that you think it's love, and I was like beaten, I was like whipped with belts. It was ridiculous. I was like financially being crippled as well, so if I wasn't spending a certain amount of money, she would contact her ex-boyfriend and sleep with him, but call me or voice record it and send it to me. And a lot of people would ask, why would you stay with someone? I suppose it's the fact that they say they'll always change. Nothing went well in that year and a half, and looking back on it, I couldn't tell you why I stayed in that relationship in any way, shape or form. And she'd always call me fat, like cruel, if I just be honest. Like, she'd always say I was fat, so I'd ever have to like not eat for like days, until she thought I was like thin enough to be like seen with. Or she would like make me like go to the bathroom and throw up the food. That was like, say like we went out to university, mate, she'd like make me like go to the toilets and like throw it all up. Yeah. So, yeah. How that relationship ended and how I got out of it isn't even like an easy story in itself. So I was living with 6 people, including her and I, and she had come back a few nights, crying, but had been like gone for like 2 days on end, like wouldn't answer anyone's messages. All of us were ringing her, trying to find out like where she was, because she would just like she would just leave, and there would be like radio silence, and she'd come back home crying, and she'd lock herself away in her room, and that just like carried on for like a good month, until she came down in one evening saying that she had terminal cancer, to which me and my friends, 2 guys, were like really concerned, thinking, what's going on? Like, okay, that makes sense why why you keep going off and crying. That makes logical sense. So we were comforted in her, like trying to figure it all out, and very quickly all 3 of us started to notice how she first had bowel cancer, then she had cervical, and then they found a mole, but it got really confusing. But obviously, like, emotions were all high, and she just snapped. She just snapped. So she ended up throwing a boiling kettle over me. So my mates like rushed me into the shower to like get cold water on me. So she's left the house, and we have police knocking on the door, which my mate answers, and it's all a little bit confusing. And she had rung saying that we had all gang raped her, and she had ran away to flee from us all, which resulted in 3 times going to court, me and my 2 mates, which, like, the fact that I even had to like go down that because of a silly relationship I had, like, it was like the worst. It was just the worst. So all of us had to like get up, swear the oath, and we were just like all picked apart, of being like rapers. It was so difficult. It was so difficult, but that was all dealt with, and they put a restraining order in place, so she wasn't allowed anywhere near us at all. But what we didn't know was it doesn't work in university. Obviously we were all in the same university, and she would come in, sit like right next door to me, all day, just all day, and it would just introduce me as he raped me to like anyone who walked past. Or she would just sit there, just smiling. I'd be like in the library trying to do an essay, headphones in, she would just point to me and tell people that I raped her, and yeah, and that's when I turned to drink. And I'd have loads of things stashed, like in my room. I don't think people knew how much I was drinking during that time. I pretty much drunk myself to sleep for 4 months. 4 months. Until she decided to leave university out of her own accord. I just remember one of the lecturers pulled me aside, she's like, we need to talk, and said, I have some good news, like she's just left. She's just left. But she had told our lecturer that she was lying. She's like, I want to just let you know. Like, he hadn't done anything. Yeah. So yeah, she had said that he was, so she had then admitted, that she finally, just said that she made roll up and was just there to torment me because she thought I would just quit. Yeah. Also, yes, she didn't have cancer as well. Like, it was yeah, it was just a really difficult time. I never like adjusted after that. But this is where my self-harm like increased. Now, I've been self-harming since the age of 14, and I'm very aware. I became quite attuned, I want to say about 16, of like how far I could cut without getting a scar. And would just slowly just go ham on me. That would like numb me enough that I kind of like, I don't want to say medicated, but kind of like used to control myself through this mix of drinking, or if I felt as though I shouldn't, I would go back and forth between these two methods. And I bottled like everything up. And I've been speaking to a few people online in regards to mental health and how to kind of express it, and they've just been like, just do it, Caesar's way. So this is kind of like my outpouring, because everything just not speaking about it like was so easy to do, but would just like if I had a bad day, it would kind of like, it would just blow out of proportion. I would be like really like not I felt unhinged, like to the point where like nothing will help in this moment. But to go back to self-harming, and I had cut the booze very quickly when I had some blood tests done. I had cut the booze immediately. I had some tests done because I had a lump in my testicles, which I thought was testicular cancer. Nothing came of it, which was good. But they came back saying like, your liver is struggling. So slowly but surely, that had been cut out. I went for further tests, and everything's equaled out in some way, which is good. I haven't been strong on drinking for a good number of years. Like there'll be like one or two nights where I'll go out like socially for drinking, and maybe I drink too much. I don't know, I have a hangover the next day, but it's a very rare occurrence to how it used to be, but never found a solution to the self-harming. And I went to a number of doctors about it. I remember the first time I kind of like talked about self-harm, straight away she said, "Are you working whilst at university?" And I said yes, and she went, "Just quit your job." I was like, okay. I was like, but my job's got nothing to do with that. I was like, it's actually kind of like um a means for me to like not be in my head. She went, "There's just nothing we can do for you." Kept going back to doctors about once every 6 months or so, and would kind of just be told, "You're probably just stressed. Find a way to not be stressed." I would just be sent on my merry way home. And then the day I had like committed myself to like, oh, this is it. Like, this is it. Spoke to the Samaritans. Valuable. And I said, go to your GP. Ring them, like, explain the situation. I think I point you in the right direction. So I did. Sat down with the GP, and the first thing he said was, "Are we just not overreacting?" So he went through my notes and realised that I'd come in for like stress-related illnesses. So that's not the case. And we had to have the discussion of like, do you feel safe to like get yourself home? Probably like the most honest I've ever been in my life. I just turned to her and I went, "I ain't gonna make it home." And I was escorted to the crisis ward, and I had sat down with a psychiatrist and a therapist, and kind of went through, let's unpick all of this. Let's just go through it. So I was in this room for maybe like 2 hours, and they came back saying, "We don't think you're depressed. We think there's something else on. But you're going to be on a waiting list for another like therapy session." I was like, great, cool. And then I was given a phone call about a year later, and they said, even though I had called up the crisis number a few times, they were pretty positive that everything was fine. And that's kind of where I am today. So I'm not going to any courses. I'm not seeing anyone. I can't afford private in any way, shape or form. So I just kind of live on this line. So when people ask, "Are you depressed?" I say no, because nothing has come back saying that. I'm not anxious. I'm not anything, according to the health professionals. Which is fine, because I found my own way to kind of cope with it. And one of the biggest things that like really took like a turnaround in regards to my mental health was talking about things that I love. I love talking about books, and this community, this platform that I have is like paramount to me being happy. And I've not felt like this happy like on like a day-to-day, like week by week, month by month basis. And yeah, I have down days. And I wouldn't want to say that I'm not a self-harmer, because I don't think that you stop day one, but it has been a very long period with me not doing that. And I think I just want to get this out there because I know so many people who I've grown up with, who I went to school with, who I've worked with, who have killed themselves. And I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't tell you why. I would never have guessed there was anything wrong. And cliche, I didn't expect it. And this is why I have a mustache. To raise awareness, to talk about men's mental health, talk about my mental health. And I might have a silly moustache and I might look a little bit weird, but I'm here and I'm breathing. And I wish there were some other people doing the same too.